No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
I don't think my mic's working, so we're off to a really good start here, is what I'm finding out. So I'm going to try and fix my mic, because I didn't even expect that to be an issue at the moment, to be perfectly honest. So let me just fix that. Hang on. This is really having a lot of fun on me. Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining me live on the Illegal Curve YouTube channel and our Facebook page and I guess our Twitter feed and everyone else, I say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Drew Mindell experience. I'm here. Ezzy's in Grand Forks. I'm not sure where Dave is. Dave's off. He's got an event tonight as well. So it's me, it's you, it's your beverage of choice. Mine's bourbon, as you might expect. So bottoms up, everybody. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves on this Saturday night. The Jets just lost to the Montreal Canadiens, as we all well know. A game that they had in hand, I would say, with a 3-1 lead against the Montreal Canadiens team. But I can sort of understand why it's difficult to play against the Montreal Canadiens. Not excusing the Winnipeg Jets, because when you're up 3-1 against the Montreal Canadiens, you need to find a way to win that game. You just need to find a way to win that game. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Montreal is not an easy team to play against in the sense that they are team chaos. There's not a lot of structure in that game tonight. I think you all saw the same game I did. You know, as that game went on, structure for both teams went away. Montreal probably doesn't play with a lot of structure at the best of times. Young teams, defensively challenged. It's very much pond hockey when you're a team like the Montreal Canadiens. And I'm pretty sure that's what you saw tonight. That's what I saw a lot of them from the Montreal Canadiens tonight, is a lot of pond hockey plays, a lot of open ice plays. They're a fun team to watch. Don't get me wrong. That was a fun game, but it's probably the kind of game that's going to give Rick Bowness back in Winnipeg, Scott Arniel, the Jets coaching staff, it's going to give a little bit of heartburn. Not a lot of structure to that game. And it's, you know, when you're playing against an unstructured team, it's very easy to get out of your own structure. I get that, especially a Jets team that is not known for being the most, let's say, disciplined and committed to structure. That's not really a word you would usually associate with the Winnipeg Jets. So I thought that's a lot of what you saw tonight in tonight's game. It was a lot of unstructured hockey, a lot of open ice. I mean, Montreal's not an especially physical team. They have a couple guys who can be physical, but they're not particularly physical. It was a lot of it was a fun game. I really did enjoy a lot of it. But there's a lot not to like from the Winnipeg Jets perspective, starting with the fact that you give up a 3-1 lead. And I don't think you should give up a 3-1 lead against the Montreal Canadiens. I know easier said than done for me, but there's a lot of plays in that game, a lot of loose plays, a lot of players from the Winnipeg Jets perspective that I thought really didn't bring their A game tonight. And I mean, obviously they want to bring their A game, but I mean, I think everyone watching that game would know that Nikolai Ehlers did not have his best game from my perspective. It's funny, you know, he dominated possession-wise, if you look at it, 72% of the possession, but just some plays from Nikolai Ehlers, particularly that one goal I think it was it wasn't the Monahan goal, but it was the Armia goal. You don't like that. It wasn't actually a shorthanded goal. We'll get to that in the Betway game recap. You know, a lot of plays that you don't like, that it just gets to be a little bit too loose, too pond hockey-ish from both teams. And from the Jets, that's not a game that they're going to want to replay very well. It's not a game that they're going to try and emulate as the season goes on. It's not like the game against Detroit on Thursday night, where they would likely emulate that game more than they would emulate this game. Certainly the result 4-1 versus a 4-3 defeat. Nonetheless, it's a shootout loss, so you do get the points. So the Jets now have points in 4 straight games. So that's certainly a feather in their cap, and that's something to be happy about as we reach this point of the season here, early on, of course, but still, you know, the Jets need you want to bank points wherever you can, but the Jets have to be feeling that this is a game
that they let slip away. You got a 3-1 lead on Montreal early in that second period. And yeah, there's still a lot of time to go. 2 full periods, really, when you consider how quickly and how early the Jets scored in that second period. There's still 2 full periods to go in this game, but the Jets have to find a way to try and shut things down. It's easier said than done. And it's sort of, it reminded me, or it just brought back to the forefront, not that I needed reminder, but it brought back to the forefront that this Winnipeg Jets team is still very much lacking when it comes to the defensive side of things. They're lacking when it comes to their defensive play, more often than not. They're lacking when it comes to a bona fide shutdown defenseman. And that's still going to be an area of concern for the Winnipeg Jets until and only if it gets addressed. You can see what they are defensively. They're the same team defensively that we've seen last year. There's some good, there's a lot of bad. There's some really nice players. There's some players that make plays that sometimes wow you and sometimes they ooh you, if you want to look at it at that point in time. And there was a lot of ooh plays, I would say, during that second and third period of tonight's game as it became more open and as Montreal started to, again, just really play this loose style. And it's really hard to play that disciplined style against the loose style, especially when you look at the Jets defense. It's not built to play that disciplined style. It's not built to be able to shut down an opponent. They're not built to shut down any opponent, really, and especially a Montreal team that is still offensively talented. That said, the Jets have to find a way. These are all, true facts that I believe I'm spouting. I don't think that I'm saying anything that is completely out to lunch. But at the same time, this is an area that the Jets still need to figure out. And it's not, I don't think that it's a simple 5-man unit sort of solution where we all need to play better defensively. I do think they need reinforcements, significant reinforcements on the back end. You can't trot the same 6 out that you have and expect that you're going to get different results from what you had last year. Now, I'm not saying you have to rush out and make a trade right now, or you have to rush out and and do something rash at this very moment. That would be silly of me to say something like that. But it is still going to be, now that you've resolved the Scheifele and Hellebuyck situations, those were the big ones that were going to be hanging over the season. Those are now gone. So the question is, you've clearly indicated that you're still all in, that you're still in win now mode. We've heard that from Mark Chipman in his various media availabilities this week. We've heard that from Kevin Cheveldayoff. Okay, you're in win now mode. I get that. Now, you don't want to mortgage the future. No one's saying that you have to mortgage the future and you need to you could do something completely insane, like trade Martin Erat for what was his name? Philip Forsberg, I think, back in the day with the Caps and the Predators. If you want to go back to that trade deadline disaster a number of years ago, probably over a decade ago now. Somehow I got old somewhere along the way. But you need to address the defense if you truly are in, if you truly are all in, if you truly are wanting to say that you are going to be a team that has a significant chance to do something in the playoffs. This is what you need to address. This is the big unanswered issue. You've got the forward depth. That's great. You've got the defense, that same defense as last year, that continues to be a problem. And I thought you saw that a lot tonight in this game against the Montreal Canadiens. I didn't love Laurent Brossoit's performance in net tonight. I thought that he made some nice saves, but I thought he was fighting the puck a little bit. And then we've seen Laurent Brossoit over the years. We sort of know what he is as a goaltender at this point in time. There are times when he fights the puck. And to his credit, he fought it off enough to get the Jets into overtime, and he made some saves in that overtime period. There were just times where I didn't think he was as solid. You can see when he's dialed into his game, and I don't think that he was necessarily perfectly dialed into his game tonight from the Winnipeg Jets perspective. You look at the special teams for the Winnipeg Jets. Well, they had plenty of special team opportunities in the course of tonight's game. The Habs took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minor penalties. The Jets got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 0 power play goals. And the power play really didn't look very dangerous, I thought, in tonight's game. So that's significant issue from my perspective, is the Jets power play, had it been not even mediocre, but yeah, had it been, never mind average, but how about mediocre, it probably wins the game for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. But they weren't, and they weren't able to capitalize on the power play. And while they didn't give up a shorthanded goal, they basically almost did give up a shorthanded goal. It just so happened that the final seconds of the penalty ticked off before the puck went in the net behind Laurent Brossoit. These are just my reactions, my gut reactions to tonight's game between the Jets and the Montreal Canadiens. Could be worse, could have been a regulation time loss, and that would be not inexcusable, because that would be a little bit too dramatic, but that would be that would be 1 point worse than they are tonight. But nonetheless, this is a game that I think the Jets have to feel as though the opportunities were there, the scoring chances were there. Jake Allen was very good for the Montreal Canadiens tonight. A goalie that went, as I said this morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, when one of Dave or Ezzy were nice enough to join me. I forgot which one it was. No, I know it was Dave. When Jake Allen is on, he can be very good. He can be tremendous when he's locked into performing at the peak of his abilities. Conversely, when he's not on, he can be pretty horrendous. Tonight, he was on for the Montreal Canadiens, even though the Jets got 3 goals past them. You look at the shots on goal in tonight's game, the Jets had 45 shots on goal. They had a significant number of shots on goal tonight. And if it wasn't for Jake Allen, who made a number of very nice saves, then the Jets probably win this game. And I see people saying in the chat that the Jets were goalied tonight. I don't know that they were goalied tonight. I think that might be a little bit much. I thought that the Montreal Canadiens goaltender was better than the goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets. That goalie, of course, being Jake Allen, and that goalie being Laurent Brossoit from the Jets' perspective. So that's where we're at for the Jets. That said, it's a good week for the Winnipeg Jets. 3-0-1 since last Saturday. You feel as though you got 7 points. Maybe you left 1 on the table, so you didn't get 8. 7 out of 8. You'll take that any week of the year. If you can get 7 out of 8 points in the course of a season, you're going to be definitely well in a playoff spot. But this Winnipeg Jets team, I think is still very similar to last year's team, especially on the back end. And until the back end gets addressed, I don't know that anything else matters. That's the big one. And how does it get addressed? The Jets, a team that are not known for bold moves. This bourbon has kind of got a bold flavor, though, so I'll drink to that. Hang on. See, it's hard for me to find the time to have my bourbon when I'm the only one talking. Normally, I can throw it to Dave or I can throw it to Ezzy and they ramble on incoherently, and I can have a sip of something. When it's just me, I got to find time. So I'm just going to pause every now and then. I hope you folks will understand. It is Saturday night. I think my friends at Seagram's are happy to allow me to have a drink every now and then. I hope you're all doing well as well. I hope you're having a drink. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is that makes you happy on this Saturday night. I hope you all had a good Saturday. We were together about 12 hours ago, the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. If you missed it, don't worry. I can forgive you. Podcast is available. The YouTube channel's got the replay of the show. That's okay. But I hope you had a good Saturday after that. I hope you found time to do whatever it is that you do on a Saturday that makes you happy. Run errands, spend time with your loved ones, your kids, whomever it might be. Whatever you did, I hope you had a good time doing it. I had a good time doing it. Took my son to a birthday party. That was fun. It was a skating birthday party, so we got to skate. My son is 6, as you've seen him on the show before, and he's still just sort of learning how to skate. Hopefully he gets somebody else's genetics so that he can skate better than his dad can. But we had a good time anyways. That's memories like that, things like that. Sometimes the world is so busy, so many shows and so many post-game shows and so many other activities that you forget to do something like that. So to be able to spend an hour with my kid on the ice is it's a good feeling. So nonetheless, here we are on this Saturday night, the Illegal Curve post-game show. Why don't we get into it? We'll go goal by goal like we do each and every time. Our friends at Betway, they're the sponsor of the Betway game recap.
the Betway Game Recap.
Big thanks to our friends at Betway for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. I am Drew Mandel, if you're just joining us. I'm here by myself. Dave's off, Ezzy's off, so you're stuck with me on this Saturday night. Nonetheless, I hope that you're doing well. Our friends at Betway remind you that they're the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options in sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. Jets open the scoring. Adam Lowry. That's good. On a penalty shot. That's a surprise. It was a real nice move by Adam Lowry. He gets hooked on the initial attempt where he breaks in, and then he's awarded a penalty shot as a result. That's Alex Newhook, new to the Montreal Canadiens, came over last year from the Colorado Avalanche. He gets the penalty, and the ref awards a penalty shot as a result. Adam Lowry comes in. This is at the 4:28 mark of the first period, and he beats Jake Allen 5-hole. Nice little move from Adam Lowry, a guy who's not known for having the softest hands and the best goal-scoring touch on the Winnipeg Jets. But nonetheless, he gets the Jets on the board in the opening period, an opening period that was utterly dominated by the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, just utterly dominated. 82% of the possession the Jets had. Montreal Canadiens, little bit 18% possession. High danger chances for the Winnipeg Jets, 6-1 for the Montreal Canadiens. So certainly what the Jets wanted to start the game like. And we talked about this on this morning's show. Get off to a good start for the Winnipeg Jets. Do what you need to do to get started on the right foot. And they certainly did. Didn't last long, unfortunately, for Winnipeg Jets fans, as Justin Barron, not the Barron that the Jets wanted to see score, but Justin Barron, he opens the scoring for the Montreal Canadiens, puts the Habs on the scoreboard at 1-1. He scores 37 seconds after Adam Lowry did. It's Justin Barron's third of the year, assist to Raphael Harvey-Pinard and Caden Gooley. So it's 1-1, 5 minutes into the game, period, in a game that the Jets had basically been in control of for the most part. Caden Gooley back in the Habs lineup tonight. He'd missed some time. He was real good for the Habs, really good. Young player, strong defense. Imagine the Habs defense without him. It's not like this is a great defense with him. No offense to the Habs defenseman, but he really brought a lot of energy and a lot of good movements, I thought, to tonight's game for the Montreal Canadiens. 1-1 for between the Jets and the Habs after 20 minutes. Jets make it 2-1. This is the way you wanted to start well. We talked about it this morning. You wanted to start well, and the Jets do. In the first period, getting an early goal on the power play, and then an early goal in the second period as well. Adam Lowry again. His second assist to Nino Niederreiter and to Mason Appleton. This comes at the 15-second mark of the second period. Appleton wins a puck battle. Mason Appleton's playing really well for the Winnipeg Jets. I talked about this on Thursday. Mason Appleton is playing some of his best hockey, consistent best hockey that I can remember him playing as of late. There's been flashes before. There was that game in Colorado early last year, if you recall that. But this has been Mason Appleton, the most noticeable stretch of hockey that Mason Appleton has been playing, from my perspective, for the Winnipeg Jets. He wins a puck battle along the boards, sends it in deep, or to Lowry, who puts it to Niederreiter, and then Lowry goes hard to the net. And Niederreiter, instead of going around the net as Jake Allen anticipated, he starts going behind the net, and then he feeds it back out front to Adam Lowry, who is unmolested, untouched, uncovered, and Jake Allen's looking the wrong way. So Adam Lowry deposits it past Jake Allen 15 seconds into the second period to give the Winnipeg Jets a 2-1 lead. You like the play. It starts with a board battle. It starts with a win along the boards, and then it's just a good, strong play deep down in the Habs zone where the Jets should be able to take advantage of the Montreal Canadiens, and they did. That Lowry, Appleton, Niederreiter line was dominant, and there was a line in the game broadcast. Harna Ryan Singh referred to Appleton, Lowry, and Niederreiter as the Jets' third line, whether the third line or the second line, irrelevant. But he says so Harnarayan Singh calls a great game, says that the Jets' third line. And then John Garrett, who I like John Garrett. He, of course, remember John Garrett from his days with Jets 1.0 and he used to be a broadcaster for Jets 1.0. I don't remember if it was on CKND back then or if it was on CKY, but wherever John Garrett was, he goes, that's been the Jets' first line tonight. And he's absolutely right. That line was dominant for the Winnipeg Jets. They had possession 83% of the time. They had 2 goals for in tonight's game. Lowry, Appleton, and Niederreiter were certainly a driving force for the Winnipeg Jets. 7 high danger chances at 5-on-5 for that line tonight. 0 against. So if you're outscoring your opponent 2-0 and you're outchancing them in high danger chances 7-0, that tells you just how much that line was controlling the play tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. Interesting to note, though, 5-on-5, only 9 minutes and 43 seconds. So Iafallo, Scheifele, and Connor at 5-on-5, they played over 14 minutes. Ehlers, Nemesnikov, Perfetti at 5-on-5, they played 11 and a half minutes. The Jets' most dominant line tonight, by my humble estimation, only played 9 minutes and 43 seconds. Thought it might be a little bit more, a little bit higher than that. Nonetheless, it wasn't. I'm going to take a drink now. I hope you don't mind. I'm not just drinking because Kentucky football lost. They just did. I may be multitasking and watch the end of that game on my second screen here. That's how impressive I am here, folks. But I'm drinking because it's a Saturday night, and, that's sometimes you just want to belly up to the bar a little bit. 2-1 for the Jets early in the second period. And yet again, how many games in a row is this now that the Jets have scored 2 goals in a row? I think this is the 3rd or 4th game in a row now that the Jets have scored bang, bang, as our good buddy, Mr. Bayak, used to say. They go bang, bang again. 18 seconds later, Nino Niederreiter gets his second of the season. He scored into the empty net against Detroit on Thursday night. Niederreiter is second here from Mason Appleton. And this is a really soft play by a young player on the Montreal Canadiens, and that's Slavkovsky. Really soft play. We talked about it. We talked about him this morning with Mark Dumont on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. And this is a young player who's probably rushed to the NHL. Doesn't belong right now, I think, in the NHL based on his performance. And this is a player who's not playing with any confidence whatsoever. Ended the game with 2 shots on goal. And I know plus minus isn't a statistic really worth spending much time on, but he was a -2. And he's responsible for this goal, in my estimation. It's just a very soft play behind his own net. It's a weak play. It's a play that you can't get away with at the NHL level. And it's a play that I think happens because he is a young player who just doesn't have any confidence right now. And he's sort of man versus boy. And in this case, the Jets and Mason Appleton and Nino Niederreiter are the men here who are able to force the turnover, who are able to put the puck back in front of the net. And Niederreiter on the backhand makes no mistake. And it's all of a sudden 3-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. And because it's Nino Niederreiter's first goal of the season, first goal of the season where there's a goalie in the net, I should clarify, I'm going to declare it the Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
The beauty of this being a one-man show is I don't have to answer to anybody. So really, I can decide whatever I want to do. And Dave and Ezzy aren't here to, quibble with me. So, I'll try and keep it PG. I'll try and keep it related to hockey because nobody else wants to hear my inane ramblings on a litany of other topics. I will digress and say I was saddened to hear about Matthew Perry earlier tonight. Chandler Bing was one of the, when Friends was at its peak, when it was at its heyday, Chandler Bing was a great character. Now, obviously, the character and the show itself, I think, diminished and the show went on for too long. But I was saddened to hear that Matthew Perry passed away earlier tonight. I don't know if everyone was aware of that, and if I'm breaking that news, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to be the teller of bad news, but apparently he passed away in a drowning accident. And so that came across TMZ earlier this evening when the game was going on. So that was sad to hear. You know, he drowned in his own hot tub, as Spency is saying on in the chat. So yeah, you know, that was a little bit upsetting. We do remember Friends. It was a phenomenon, and it's sort of funny to see kids nowadays finding Friends again, and that next generation carrying it on or rewatching it, and I don't know what streaming service has it. Doesn't really matter. I don't need to watch it again. But it is sort of interesting. What was once old is now new again. I think bell bottoms are going to be making a comeback any day now as well. So was sorry to hear that Chandler Bing passed away earlier tonight. Let's talk about a digression there. That is definitely a digression. There's no easy way to come back from that, but nonetheless, we will carry on with the hockey talk on this Saturday night. It is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Normally, there's 2 of us. Sometimes there's 3 of us. Tonight, there's just yours truly. So we call this the Drew Mindell Experience. Totally understand if viewership is very low. I don't know that I'd watch myself, but I appreciate all of you that are here tonight joining us for the Illegal Curve post-game show. We'll do it again on Monday night. That'll be fun after the Jets and the Rangers. Blake Wheeler coming back to town. Boy, doesn't it seem like it's going to be his last appearance here in Winnipeg. We know the Rangers only come once a year, but this seems like he's sort of on fumes, at least so far in his Rangers career. Blake Wheeler, Father Time, as per usual, is undefeated. We'll see if Blake Wheeler can put on a bit of a show for the Winnipeg, in front of his old Winnipeg Jets fans on Monday night. But we'll get to that later on. So 3-1 for the Winnipeg Jets. Early in the second period, the Jets score twice in 33 seconds. I think I heard on the broadcast. A franchise record, that is, for the 2 fastest goals at the start of a period for the Winnipeg Jets. Now, I don't know if that includes I assume that includes the Thrashers records and not the Jets 1.0 records, and I really don't want to relitigate that debate, so we're not going to even bother with that. But nonetheless, 2 goals in 18 seconds within the first 33 seconds of the second period gives the Jets a 3-1 lead. And that's what you want. You want a 3-1 lead against a Montreal Canadiens team. But can you lock it down? Can you lock it down? Can you shut them down? Can you get a 4th goal to make it 4-1? That probably puts this game away as well. Can you figure out a way to keep a Montreal Canadiens team that has some offensive firepower? Can you figure out a way to not let them back into this game? And the answer is no. Sorry to be the spoiler alert there, but the answer is no. Sean Monahan, 7 minutes and 50 seconds after the Jets make it 3-1, he makes it 3-2. It's a power play goal. We talked about special teams in the course of tonight's game. The Jets' power play, not effective. The Habs' power play, they only had 2 opportunities. Yes, they were effective with Adam Lowry in the box for tripping. The Jets have a few opportunities, at least 1, maybe 2. Shouldn't say a few. I should say at least a couple. Couple opportunities to clear the zone while shorthanded, and they're unable to do it. And then they lose their structure. And when you lose your structure while penalty killing, bad things happen. That's true for any team in this NHL. And bad things happen from a Jets perspective as Sean Monahan got his 4th of the year. He's playing great hockey. Assist to Nick Suzuki and Mike Matheson. And you can see that a breakdown occurred because there was nobody within 3 feet, 4 feet of Sean Monahan. He had all day. I think he was able to whip out his cell phone and tune into a previous broadcast of Illegal Curve before one of the Jets defenders were able to try and get back. It was Dylan DeMello who, in a desperation attempt to knock the puck away, failed. Well, at least he tried. Brendan Dillon was out. He left the front of the net. It was just an ugly defensive sequence all around for the Winnipeg Jets penalty killers. Morgan Barron and Rasmus Kupari were also on the ice on that power play. In any event, Sean Monahan tucks it behind Laurent Brossoit, and it's a 3-2 game at that point in time. And when it's obviously a Montreal Canadiens team or a team that knows how to score, the Jets are not generally a team that know how to defend particularly well, and that was an instance where they weren't able to do so. 3-2 for the Jets after 40 minutes. Take a drink, everybody. Take a sip. We got lots of time. We're all here. It's 9:30. It's a Saturday night. It's a beautiful Saturday night. It's sort of nice outside. I know we're all a little bit disappointed by the snow. Nobody wants it to be permanent snowfall at this point in the year. We'd like it, if the snow went away, that'd be fine. But it's kind of nice out. I walked my dog earlier today. After the show ended, I took the dog for a walk, and the snow was still white. It hadn't gone to that sort of ugly, gray, dirty color that so often happens in the course of winter. And it wasn't bitterly cold by any stretch of the imagination. I was able to wear my light jacket and my icy toque. Took the dog for a nice walk. My dog is, how old's my dog now? My dog is, we got her. My dog is 15 years old, and she's still got some good spry with her. So she's a little dog. She's 15. She doesn't hear very well anymore. She still can see. She's still got her eyesight, and she's still got a lot of energy. For a little dog, she's still got a lot of fight in her. So we went on a really nice walk, put on my earbuds, took a stroll through the neighborhood. Nice way to spend a Saturday. A little bit of time to yourself. A little bit of a sort of a mental health refresher. That's what I sort of consider it sometimes. Now in the dead of winter, I don't really want to walk her. The dog doesn't really want to be walked. So we've come to a pretty good détente in that case. She's like, let me out in the backyard. I'm going to do my business. I'm going to come back inside. Put me under a blanket, wake me up in the spring. And I say, okay, I'm not going to force her to do something she doesn't want to do. She's 15 years old, right, folks? I want to be reasonable to my poor dog. But today, this was a good opportunity for both of us to go on our walk. And she's, you've seen Brixton before on the show. If you haven't, you can find her on some old episodes. She's a cross between miniature pincher and a pug. And I can see her sort of tiptoeing upstairs around the house right now, probably looking for me. We're pretty good friends. And I'm here in the basement. This is the basement studio. I'm in my electrical room, so it's not the most glamorous of setups. And the dog doesn't really want to come down here very often. I don't really blame her. There's probably some asbestos in here, but hopefully not that much. In any event, I don't know where I was. It's 3-2 for the Jets after 40 minutes. You knew I was going to digress at some point in time during this post-game show. Can you imagine if Dave and Ezzy, when they tune into this, at some point in time, they're going to be dreading the fact that they gave me this opportunity. It doesn't come every day that they gave me this opportunity to just sit in front of a microphone and ramble incoherently and things about my life. If you guys got questions, you can throw them in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat at the same time, but I got a lot going on here. I got to somehow fill this airtime. I got to drink my drink. I got to recap the game. But if you got questions, you can throw them in there, and I'll try and answer them, maybe after the break, maybe during the show, at any point in time. You never know where the show is going to go. Again, this is Dave and Ezzy's fault. If they were here, I would do my best to keep it on the straight and narrow. But they're not. So, the kids are away, so Daddy's going to play. 3-2 for the Jets after 40 minutes. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. I'm your host, Drew Mindell. Normally, we do this with Dave Minuk and Ezra Ginsburg. Neither of them are here right now, but I'm here. And we're going to talk about this Jets game, and then we're going to talk about other things. And who knows where the world's going to take us on this Saturday night. 3-2 after 40 minutes. The Habs tie it up. And it's you old friend of ours, isn't he? He looked good tonight, I thought. I thought, he was noticeable. And I don't know if, I don't pay that much attention to why he hasn't been in the lineup. I know he's been down at the AHL in Laval. But, I don't know why he can't crack this Habs lineup on the regular basis. But it's Yoel Armia. That's who I'm talking about. He gets his first of the season. Assist to Caden Gooley. We mentioned Gooley earlier in the game. He was really good for the Habs. Mentioned that. But Yoel Armia, good for him. Anytime a guy can come back in the lineup, get a goal after doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're proving yourself down at the AHL level. You're working your way to get back up to the NHL level. and you can score a goal in that instance, that feels good for him. So good for Yoel Armia, his first of the year. 154 mark of the third period. And we talked about special teams, talked about it a whole bunch on this post-game show already. And it's an even strength goal, but for all intents and purposes, it's almost a shorthanded goal. And Nikolai Ehlers is not going to like the video on this one, folks. And Josh Morrissey is not going to like the video on this one, folks, either. And it's just all sorts of ugly from a Winnipeg Jets perspective. Ehlers, sorry, I didn't mean Morrissey. I meant Pionk is not going to like the video on this one. Ehlers is playing at the point on the power play, because remember, this all happened. This started on the power play. So he's playing the point, and he just a careless play results in a turnover. Now Ehlers has to play defense. So he's back checking, or he's not back checking, but he's the defenseman. He's one of the last lines of defense here, playing out of position. Anytime you got a forward going up against a forward who's playing defense, it's opportunity knocks for the forward. And he gets turned inside out, he being Nikolai Ehlers, and he is all of a sudden staring at the boards, and Lord knows why he's staring at the boards, because you're not supposed to be staring at the boards in this instance. And Armia is able to come in. There's just like the parting of the Red Sea, or the Blue Jets defense, as the case may be. There's so much space for the Habs to enter the zone and get a scoring chance, and they take advantage of that. And it's just all sorts of ugly in this instance for the Winnipeg Jets. You're not going to like the video of this. And there were a number of breakdowns throughout the course of tonight's game that the Winnipeg Jets are not going to like. And this has been a problem that we talked about off the start of the show, that the Jets defense is still giving up too many chances. It's still giving up too many opportunities. It's still not good enough off the rush. And that is exactly what you saw tonight at various opportunities where the Montreal Canadiens were able to take advantage of that. And that's where most glaring it showed here on this even strength goal, a minute 54 into the third period to tie it up at 3-3. So the Jets were up 3-1. They weren't able to expand on the lead, and they weren't able to maintain the lead. And the Habs tied it up at 3. Third period, early in the third period, so there's still about 18 minutes to go in this game. And the Jets had some opportunities. I jotted down a couple of them. Rasmus Kupari had a breakaway. Now the puck was rolling on him, so it wasn't necessarily the easiest breakaway opportunity, but Jake Allen makes a nice save off for Rasmus Kupari, who had a breakaway. With 5:20 to play, Mark Scheifele, who was booed every time he touched the puck in Montreal. And I don't remember that happening last year, but I'm sure it did, because I don't think they just would have started it this year. And it's a remnant of the Jake Evans hit back during the COVID playoff season that Mark Scheifele gets booed, and he was booed vociferously. Let me tell you, folks, you know that Mark Scheifele, any athlete, you know that Mark Scheifele wanted to score a goal so badly tonight. You know that he wanted to take those boos and channel them and relish the opportunity to celebrate in front of a crowd that is booing him non-stop. And he came close. He had some opportunities. Wasn't able to get one past Jake Allen, the one I had jotted down at the 5:20 mark. Jake Allen made the save there. And then there was another opportunity for Mark Scheifele. And boy, would have this one been even better for him, with only about 2 minutes to play in the game, about 2 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the game. Mark Scheifele with a 2-on-1 with Alex Iafallo. And Scheifele made the right decision, in my estimation, to shoot here. But Jake Allen made the save again. Doug's telling me it's time for another sip of whiskey. Doug and I have had the opportunity to get together, meet on a few different occasions. He's a good man. I'm going to listen to Doug. I hope you all listen to whomever is your good man in your life, or good woman in your life, whomever. that is giving you advice, giving you insight, giving you guidance as to what to do. So bear with me for a second here. It tastes good. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate the permission for another sip of whiskey. T. Will wants me to take another one too. I have to pace myself. I'm not a big drinker, guys. I'm really not. I can drink bourbon pretty well. That is something I never really expected to be able to say in my life. As you all know, my wife's from Kentucky, so that's sort of where I began to find my affinity for bourbon and develop my affinity and my ability to drink bourbon pretty well. My people, the Jewish people, if I can use a stereotype, we're not generally known as big drinkers or good drinkers. Eaters, yeah, we're good at that. Not so much drinking, but I'm doing my part here tonight. And we have a pretty impressive bourbon collection at home. I'd invite you over. Maybe one day. We'll just have everyone come over. You can all just sort of, I'll bring out the bourbon. My wife will file for divorce. And we'll all just sit in the driveway and, can share some bourbon. Maybe one day. Probably not tonight, but maybe one day. I don't know what I was saying before that. Right, Mark Scheifele, scoring opportunities. He had another one with 2:20 to play. Jake Allen made another save. And then, with 1 minute and 42 seconds to go in the game, Arbor Jacki. And God, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right. He takes a penalty, takes a high sticking penalty. And the Jets have an opportunity to win it in regulation. And that power play late in regulation, to me was the power play of a team that was a little bit scared. Not scared. Scared may not be the right word. A team that was lacking in confidence. That's what it was. It was a power play of a team lacking in confidence. There was no aggression on that Jets power play. No, I don't think you need to be aggressive to the point of reckless. I would certainly never say that. That would be silly at that point in time. But if you're on the power play, and there's a minute and a half to go in the game, or, exactly, a minute 42 to be exact. You want to see a little bit more assertiveness, I think, from my perspective. You want to see a little more assertiveness. You want to see a little bit more grab the proverbial bull by the horns and say, yes, you've made a mistake. You are going to regret this. And I didn't see that from the Winnipeg Jets. I saw a team that was passive and a team that was happy to take this game into overtime and get the 1 point and then just see where the game was going to go from that point in time. I would have wanted to see a little bit more aggressiveness there in that instance. Not recklessness, but aggressiveness. Saying, we want to win this game in regulation. We want to send the Habs fans home miserable. Mark Scheifele wants to do a dance right on center ice after scoring the power play goal with seconds to go. Didn't see that from the Winnipeg Jets. And off to overtime we went on this Saturday night in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mindell by himself. Enjoying your company, though. So that's pretty good. Off to overtime. This is the Illegal Curve post-game show. Betway game recap here on this Saturday evening. And overtime was pretty entertaining. There were opportunities for both teams. Both goalies had to make some big saves. I thought Cole Caulfield won the game, to be honest, with seconds to play. I thought he was teed up and ready to fire it past Laurent Brossoit and the I don't want to say the name of the corporation that owns that has the naming rights to that arena, but we'll call it the Montreal Forum for lack of better name, even though we all know it's not the Montreal Forum. I thought it was going to blow the roof off right there and then. Instead, he wedged it over the crossbar. Golden opportunity for Cole Caulfield to end the game in overtime. Nonetheless, with opportunities at both sides, opportunities at both ends of the ice, it was off to a shootout. And, of course, the shootout is lacking in excitement, I would say. The Habs scored the first shootout goal. That was the only shootout goal. They won 1-0 in the shootout. They won the game 4-3. 3 stars tonight. Caden Gooley. These were picked by TVA Sports. Caden Gooley got the first star. We talked about how good he was. Adam Lowry for the Jets. He was definitely good. And then Jake Allen. He certainly you could make an argument very well that Jake Allen could have been the first star of tonight's game after the Jets peppered him with 45 shots. Manitoba Moose, I know, are in overtime in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody in the chat will keep me up to speed as to what's happening there. I see Jack Bauer is mentioning it. I see that the Bailey, the intern, is there as well. So someone's going to let me know how the Moose did. There's probably not going to be a Mindell Moose minute. I'll be honest. As much as I'd love to do it just to really potentially infuriate Dave. But I didn't see a second of the Moose game. I was watching the Jets game. The second screen was on the Kentucky game, as you folks, I think, would expect from me at this point in time. You know that my fandom for Kentucky is real and is passionate. So I didn't see the Moose game, but I'll let you know if the Moose win or lose. If you people let me know if the Moose win or lose. But I'm not going to do a Mindell Moose minute because that would be pretty disingenuous to still say anything about the Moose game that I have not watched whatsoever. Let's go to break. That was a 4-3 victory for the Montreal Canadiens over the Winnipeg Jets. We'll go to break. When we come back, I honestly don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I still have some bourbon to drink, and it's 10 to 10 on a Saturday night, and I'm not sure where all you folks are going to go if you're going to leave, but if you do, I understand. I won't take it personally, but let's stick around. Let's chat. We'll have some fun. We'll have a good conversation. Who knows where this world is going to take us? We're about 48 minutes in, I should say. It's the Illegal Curve postgame show, the Drew Mindell experience. Doesn't happen very often for good reason, but nonetheless, stay with us. It's the Illegal Curve postgame show.
Your coworkers love you because you always make them laugh. You're the life of the party with stories that have them rolling on the floor. Or maybe you're just the quiet one in the corner with the one-liners that just slay. Do you have what it takes to become Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job? Try your luck. Hit the stage at Rumors Comedy Club, and you could be walking away with $1,000 cash. Winnipeg's funniest person with a day job. Presented by Rumors. For all the details, head to rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal. Starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
The game can change just like that. Accidents happen when you aren't protected. So now what? Getting to your injury quickly can make all the difference. Help prevent them from being game changers with Linden Market Dental Center. Bonding, crowns, bridges, and dental implants. State-of-the-art treatments are available to help you get back in the game. To learn more, visit lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Boston Pizza harnessed Fanalytics to test if the game is better at home or at Boston Pizza. The results are irrefutable. Catch the game at Boston Pizza, powered by Fanalytics.
Are you dreaming of your very own backyard rink this winter, but dreading the work involved? Well, stress no longer, because the Rink Guys are here to make it happen. The Rink Guys are Winnipeg's first outdoor skating rink installation and rink maintenance service. The Rink Guys offer free site evaluations and different rink construction options. Plus, they use a custom-sized liner to prevent any damage to your lawn. Lighting packages are also available to help illuminate your rink during those long, dark winter nights. To get your rink started today, visit therinkguys.com. For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the illegal curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. We're back on the Illegal Curve postgame show, masquerading as the Drew Mindell experience on this Saturday night. I'm in Winnipeg. You folks are wherever you might be. Lots of you are probably in Winnipeg. A good number of you aren't in Winnipeg as well. You're all around the world. And if you had told young Drew Mindell that he'd be sitting here on a Saturday night, drink in hand, excuse me for a second, that he'd be talking to people wherever they might be, all around the world, he wouldn't believe this. Little known fact, folks. We might as well go down memory lane a little bit while we're here. I mean, some of you are still here. I love it, appreciate it. Moose won, by the way. Before I get too far down memory lane and forget to say what I meant to say, coming back from the break. Manitoba Moose won. Ashton Sautner wins it 6-5. The Moose win in Texas tonight, which is a great win for the Manitoba Moose. So, kudos to the Manitoba Moose. They win tonight in Texas in overtime. I haven't seen a highlighted goal. I haven't seen much of anything except for our buddy Daniel Fink on Twitter tweeting that the Moose, that Sautner wins it. Oh, I'm watching the video now. He comes in. He turns back. They find him. Good cross ice pass. Good tape-to-tape passes. And Ashton Sautner wins it for the Winnipeg Jets 6-5. You know what the funny part about that, as I'm talking about this right now, is Dave, who isn't here, just tweeted the video from wherever he is. So the question I would ask then, it's like when Ezzy's in the chat and he's chatting and he's not in the show, and Dave's tweeting and he's not in the show, and I'm here by myself. I'm not complaining. I got to be honest. I'm enjoying this. Anyways, Ashton Sautner. And if you want to see the video, it's on our Twitter feed. Dave just tweeted it out. I'm not sure if they just take over Dave's, maybe the Moose take over Dave's Twitter feed and just cut the video and put it there and leave it there. And that's how they get tweeted out. And then Dave doesn't have to do it himself. But wherever Dave is, somebody has tweeted from his account showing this Ashton Sautner goal. So good for the Manitoba Moose winning 6-5 in Texas. They've swept the weekend series. They've won 3 straight. And I think they head home next week. I don't know who they play, but they head home next week. And I think Dave's got some tickets. So if you might want some tickets, although he may have already given them all away, Dave at illegalcurve.com. Wanted to make mention of something that happened overseas in England. And we're not going to speculate wildly on this show. But a former University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldog named Adam Johnson appears as though he definitely suffered a tremendous on-ice injury involving a skate blade to the throat area, to the neck and throat area. And I haven't seen anything confirmed regarding his status. So like I said, I'm not going to speculate. There's no need to speculate when it comes to a person's health, especially in a serious on-ice incident like this. But wanted to make mention of that. And of course, Adam Johnson played in college with Neil Pionk. He played with Alex Iafallo. He played with Dominic Toninato. He was an AHL teammate of Gabe Velarde and Rasmus Kupari, that courtesy of Mike McIntyre. I want to give credit where credit's due. Mike is the one who tweeted this out initially. But so a lot of ties between Mr. Johnson and many Winnipeg Jets players. And we are obviously hoping for the best case scenario. I don't know what is happening. I'm not going to speculate wildly, but he was severely injured in a game in England earlier tonight. And Ken Wiebe in Montreal spoke with Brendan Dillon and Adam Lowry, and they mentioned that their thoughts are with Adam Johnson and his family following the incident that occurred overseas in England. And again, I'm not going to speculate until, and we hope that the news is positive. It was a very serious scene in England, and that's tragic. So wanted to make mention of that as to what happened there overseas and the ties between that and the Winnipeg Jets organization, and not the Jets organization, but so many of the players on the Winnipeg Jets who know him. So that's a little bit of a downer here on the Drew Mandel Experience. The Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on this Saturday night. Very scary. Yes, the Clint Malarchuk is obviously what comes to mind, of course. That's the one that's most famous in my mind. There's other ones, unfortunately, but skates are very sharp, and skin is clearly not as sharp as we anyways, it's a bad situation. It's a bad scene. So you hope for the best and you cross your fingers that nothing else happens along those lines. Want to, of course, give out a Tough Duck Took tonight. The bourbon's already hitting me. That's a problem. I told you I wasn't a very good drinker, folks. That's not going to stop me, mind you. So I'll have another sip there while I play this video.
The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment.
Big thanks to our friends at Tough Duck for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. I'll give it to Skippy over here. Now, I'm not just giving it to Skippy because that was my nickname when I was a youngin'. It was, as it happens. But Skippy says the Jets shooters in the shootout look to be sucked out. Absolutely no spunk in this shootout effort. I'm not sure about the choice of language there, but nonetheless, I didn't think the Jets' efforts during the shootout were the best I've ever seen. I'm not going to rip my few remaining hairs out of my head over a shootout effort. That would be silly. Plus, there's not very many of them left. But the Jets' approach to the shootout left me a little bit lacking. I'm a fan of always going in with some speed, and the Jets decided to sort of slow it up and go with a more deliberate approach. And far be it for me to really delve deep or especially criticize, but I thought that Skippy's comment was relatively accurate in that I didn't love the Jets' approach to the shootout. So Skippy, whomever you are, happens to have the same name or username and as my nickname when I first got a pair of glasses. My good friend from across the street, his older brother, I went over to the house to show off my new glasses. I got glasses when I was in grade 2, if I recall correctly. So I was a youngin' when it came to the glasses, and my vision is horrible. Like, I cannot see a thing. I'm blind as a bat without my spectacles or my contact lenses, which I don't wear very often. But so I went over to my friend's house and I showed off my glasses, and his older brother came over and said, "Hey, you look like Skippy from Family Ties." I was like, "Okay, well, Skippy I am from here on out." So Skippy, winner of the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment, you can send me an email, drew@illegalcurve.com. You can slide into my DMs, whatever it might be, and you will get a Tough Duck Toque, courtesy of our good friends at Tough Duck. Big thanks to Tough Duck for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show. I honestly don't know what I was going to say about that before that. That's funny. This is a hell of a broadcast, you folks. I don't remember what I was going to say aside from the Tough Duck comment, and then something else was on my mind. Not important. Not too terribly important, but nonetheless, we'll carry on for a little while longer. Not much longer, because I see that Kenny and Rennie have started. But then we'll let the audience head over to Kenny and Rennie, because I'm sure you've all had more than enough of my inane ramblings over the last hour. God, I can't believe we've been here for an hour already. It's just wild. But in any event, I think Monday's going to be fun. New York Rangers, Blake Wheeler. I expect the crowd, and then the crowd I think is going to give him a very nice ovation, a well-deserved ovation. It was obviously time for things to move on, as was talked about, in the summer when the buyout was officially announced and everything else. but I think that Blake Wheeler deserves a loud and long ovation from the fans that are going to be in attendance on Monday nights. It's a 6:30 puck drop on Monday night, a Sportsnet game. So it's a national broadcast. So I think it's a 6:30 start time, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm pretty sure that they are. I'm pretty sure that I'm not wrong, at least for once. So 6:30 p.m. on Monday, and Blake Wheeler will, of course, get a significant ovation, I expect, from the crowd at the downtown arena, as well deserved, because Blake Wheeler, whatever he was and whatever his shortcomings were as a member of the Winnipeg Jets and as a captain of the Winnipeg Jets, I thought that he certainly gave it his all, night in, night out. And certainly at points in time, the results were lacking, and you can disagree with the approach. I would disagree with the approach more than once. Sometimes abrasive, sometimes bullying, whatever it might be. He certainly did not short shrift the Winnipeg Jets whatsoever. And so on Monday night, I look forward to the crowd in attendance, standing and rising as one, probably during the first TV timeout. That's usually when the salute happens. And sometimes those salutes aren't the most well-deserved salutes, I would say. But the salute on Monday night for Blake Wheeler, I think, will be significant. It will be loud, and it will be well-earned for a player who gave it his all here in Winnipeg, who was certainly a key member of taking the Jets to the best and highest heights that they've ever had. Certainly there were some times where they had some low lows, but nonetheless, Blake Wheeler will be deserving of the ovation that he gets on Monday night. I think I'll wrap it with that comment. I appreciate all of you joining me. I had fun. I don't know that I would want to do this every single post-game show. I'm pretty sure you guys don't want me to do this every single post-game show as well. But for tonight, and if it happens again this year, so be it. But for now, I really enjoyed myself. And I want to say a thank you to all the sponsors of the Illegal Curve post-game show who made this show possible and who hopefully won't be canceling their relationship with Illegal Curve after I've gone on now for an hour and 3 minutes. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, and the Rink Guys. Got to get your rinks in. Contact the Rink Guys. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. Dave will probably stab me in the ribs if I don't say this, so smash the like button. I'll do what Dave does. Go like this, as if your hand is jittery. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. Leave us feedback on YouTube. Leave us feedback on the various podcast places where you get this post-game show. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever it might be. Leave us the feedback there. And thanks so much for joining me. It's been fun. We'll be back Monday night. Post-game show, I think around 9:15 or so. Monday night, that'll be when the post-game show happens, 9:15. Drew Mandel. I'll be here. I'm guessing Dave and Ezzy will be here. Not really entirely sure. Somebody will be here. Okay, Dark Moon, just for you. I'll smile and wave. Dark Moon, every time we broadcast, wants me to smile and wave. I'll do it right there. There you go. Thanks for joining me. Go head to K&R, Kenny and Rennie. I'm sure they're talking about this Jets game as well, so go check them out. Tell them I say hi. Thanks to everyone for joining me. For yours truly, for myself, for Drew Mandel. This has been the Illegal Curve postgame show. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you again on Monday night.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.